I will send you the mail back with my review comments.
Okay, and you don't need to be like all sweet about it. You can just be very direct and tell me you need to improve on this because I need to be really good at it. So I won't get offended. So don't worry about it. I'm not like a typical stakeholder. You're gonna like, oh, all right.
Okay.
All right. Can you make it so I can record this session now?
Yes, I'm sharing my screen, so probably you can start recording.
Oh, okay. There it goes. It started. Thank you.
Yeah. So yesterday, what we did, we have seen brainstorming, document analysis. Did we cover focus group yesterday? No, right?
I think you started it,
Yeah.
or at least I've read it before.
Yeah, no. That is, I think, yeah. Let's start with focus group today. All right. Yeah. So focus group, we can do it in any stage. It can be requirement gathering stage, it can be requirement facilitation stage as well, it can be under development as well, right? So what we do, we identify the stakeholders, basically the as a subject matter expert, your dev lead, your test lead, if we are sitting with the IT teams. We take any other topic, or we take any component of the solution which we are going to develop. We sit together and we discussed discuss the topic basically. So before we go to the focus group, we identify the individual we needed. For example, we need a subject matter expert who can give his or her expert opinion, right, when we are going to develop a solution. If you need a business to be there, generally they don't get into more of this. Even you are sitting with the IT teams and discussing on the solution, but sometimes if needed, we ask them also to join. We see who is
I'm sorry. You asked who to join?
the business stakeholders. Sometimes
Okay.
it's not,
All right.
they will not join there because they don't want to get into that solution part. They know that they have given their business requirement, they are done, right?
Right, and they don't want to intimidate the other people. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, but sometimes what happens, we need their um, it might happen that sometimes we need them also to be in the call, so that you think that, okay, we can finish it off in one shot, right? But again, then you have to go and get the clarification, come back, right? So you can't do that. So what we do, we are going to the focus group, we identify whom do we need, right? What are the various topics we can component. If it's more from a technical point of view, we don't we involve SMEs, solution architect person who is there in the architect, the leads, basically the test lead, the dev lead, and you being a BA. We don't include, there will be 10 persons working in the project, but identify the stakeholder, invite them, and we sit together and we focus on a particular topic and we discuss discuss the topic.
Okay.
Right? So it can be in any stage. If we are doing it in the business with the business stakeholder while requirement gathering, as I said that if there are 5 persons in a stakeholder list, you can take 3 out of them 5 and say, hey, let's do this thing. Why to include everyone? Let's have I have this topic in my list to discuss. We can discuss among us and finish it off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we do, that's how we prepare our focus group. I need to make sure whom I want this in my focus group. I prepare the focus group. We need to drive the focus group, as in run the focus group and produce the report once you are done with the focus group, as in you are done with your discussion with the team, whomever you have invited. Make a report out of it. When I say report, it can be minutes of the meeting, right? What we have discussed. Okay, we have taken this agenda. This is what we have got an idea, and this is what we have selected or we have chosen to implement, right?
Mm-hmm. How Is it a one-page report, one-page notes, or what is it?
It can be in
And
your email only. What I do generally, I send it out in email, and you send out an email to the attendants who have attended that focus group, saying that, hey, hi all, this is the minutes of the meeting. This is what we have discussed. This is what we have chosen. If any action item is there, this is an action item on me to get back to with this the clarification. So this is like bullet points you give in the minutes, right?
Okay, just like, yeah, when I was in project management, that's all I did. I did more, you know, I didn't do a lot of detail, but if there was someone that had to follow up, okay, yeah, so you just mostly do a email, okay.
Yeah, or else what you can do if you want to write more details, you can save each and every point in your Word document and save it for your reference and share it after the focus group.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Do you normally sit there on your laptop and type up while everyone's speaking, or do you write it on a piece of paper and then transfer it to an email?
What I do, I generally open my laptop, put it in a notepad, right? Sometimes what happens, you will also be, what happened to me is I also get involved in a discussion. That time, probably I miss some points in writing, right? So at the end, what we do, you say, okay, fine, we have discussed this thing, this is the agenda, okay, we are going to develop this website. So that we have discussed, we are going to use this technology for this website. This already have been approved, or you say, right, we already agreed upon doing this. So going forward, we will use this, and this is our action items basically. So we wrap up, confirm that, you can send it in the email, or you can put it in the Word document, right? And you share the Word document and store somewhere in your shared repository like SharePoint, or if you have any SharePoint and all, you can upload there as well.
Do most of the companies have SharePoint?
Yeah, they do have.
Okay. I figure if they're IT, they should be real. Okay.
Because that's a common repository where you can, dump the things there, right? It's a shared repository where you can upload any kind the documents over there. So what is there, you can go and go there, and everyone can take the documents and see that, right?
Okay.
So the strength is, if you are gathering everyone in a single group, it saves time as well and cost. Instead of going to SME1, instead if you going to solution architect person 1 and sitting and discussing the same agenda, right? So why not to gather everyone within a group and discuss it and finish it off in a one shot, right?
Right.
So in that way you save time also. Right? Instead of I would have done the same thing by going individually to each person or each team. So rather call them up in a single platform, talk to them, right? Effective for learning people attitude and experience, yes. So when you are inviting them in the focus group, you get to know the person attitude as well, right? How they are talking, how they are taking this agenda, right? You don't know how people will react, right, or how people attitude is, right? So in that way you get to know as well, right, because you keep on observing people when you are asking question, how they are answering, right? So that thing, and also you get to know sorry, I'm so sorry, what is their experience, and that is a learning experience for you as well, right? Their knowledge and all when they are giving their ideas.
Okay.
Active discussion with attendee generally at the same level. Yes, when you are talking to SME, you are talking to solution architect, when you are talking to dev lead, test lead, everyone at the same level, right? That okay, when SME is talking in front of other 5 people, he or she will talk in the language that everyone knows, right? Everyone can understand. It's if I say, for example, if I'm a pure technical person and you come to me and ask me any question, if I show you a code and say, hey, this is what you should do, will you be able to understand? No, right? Because we are not that technical person. Might be my goal is technical, but I cannot tell you all the technical stuff for a simple question you asked me. But when you are doing it in a focus group, I have to tell everyone that okay, this is a problem. Let's do this instead of showing it up in a code and say, hey, we can do this code, run this code, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at the same level, where all the people can understand, right?
Now, when you're sitting around and you're doing all this, I understand that you're typing notes into your laptop. Before you get to the meeting, do you actually give old school fashioned handing out paper, or do you email them and they have all their laptops, or how is all this communicated?
Generally, we bring all our laptops and get into the conference room and sit, right? Because every time there might be a situation where in a whiteboard you have to write also, right? So people will write there. The person who will take note basically will be me, right? Because I am running the focus group. So
yes, I understand that. I just meant as far as, for example, when I was doing projects, I didn't have the training. I just did it, how I wanted to, and then I took schooling after. But what I would do is I would I would email people basically the agenda and what we were going to cover. And then at the school though, they really wanted me to print out pieces of paper and hand it to everybody, just in case some people were not up to date with all the computer stuff. Because some of them, it's interesting, some people at the very high levels, they don't know about computers and IT type of things. They're highly paid, but they have everyone else do it for them. So that's what I was asking. So mostly you're saying the groups that we'd be dealing with, they would be well acquainted with all the IT and softwares.
Yeah,
okay.
Because here what happens when I go to the technology team and talk, most of the people will have laptop, or not to say that, hey, bring paper and pencil to write, right? If they think that they need to take note, leave it up to them. If they think that they want to take notes, let them come with their own notebook and pencil or pen if they want, or else they can use their own laptop. But what you do, you give the agenda saying that, hey, this is the topic that I'm going to discuss on the focus group. That's how your role ends. Now, if they are bringing the paper, if they are bringing the pen, that is not your headache, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Generally, for us, I have seen, even for us also, how very less people bring notebook. Everyone, if they come with the laptop, and if they think that they need to take points, they do. Otherwise, they will say, hey, you are taking notes, right? At the end of the meeting, just send us the notes. That's it.
I would imagine most people would want that. They want the easy way.
Yeah, they want the easy way. So I'm the one and for me, I have to take the notes, right? There is no other way. I can't tell the other person, hey, can you take the notes on my behalf, right? Because I will think what is the most important part for me from this discussion, and I will take that note, right?
Okay. And how much time do you allocate for these different type of group events?
Focus group, generally I keep it for 1 hour.
Okay.
1 hour, because the reason is you will have different people, right? Half an hour is very short. You don't get time to discuss only. Even sometimes for me, 1 hour is less. It's like that, because different people come up their own idea. We keep on discussing the thing. For a single thing, they might go to some other level of discussions, right? So that thing, so 5-6 people running a group, and you're running a focus group, 1 hour, you should give that, means you should allocate at least 1 hour.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe, but if you have to ask to reserve the room, maybe you allow an hour and 10 minutes in case somebody is there a little bit longer, but the actual meeting wouldn't. Okay.
That always happens with us. What happens if it's a 1 hour, sometimes it gets stretched to 1.5 hours. That also happens, but generally when I'm sending the meeting invite from my Outlook, it's basically for 1 hour.
Yeah, I was thinking more not that the meeting would go over itself, but that some people would be chit-chatting after the meeting for a few minutes.
Yeah, that's what they do, but yeah, that is there. They do, okay, what is happening? Okay, let's do this thing. So what I do, I said, okay, once my agenda is done, I say, okay, thank you. If you want to carry your chit chat, you do. I just come out of the room and do my work. That's it.
Okay. All right.
So that's how. Because you can't, if you are sending an invite for 2 hours, they will say, oh my God, I don't have 2 hours time for you.
Right.
Right? So that is the problem. So half an hour you cannot do. You can't send a meeting invite for more than 2 hours, especially for this focus group or brainstorming and everything, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So in a focus group, what happens? Sometimes what you face when doing, as I said, right, when you are putting each stakeholder, even IT teams, the various teams in technology, they are also a stakeholder for your project, right? Even though they are developing the solution, they are designing the solution, they are also the stakeholders for your project. So what happens when you are putting all the stakeholders the same level and discussing? They might not say everything. They might not. As I said, right, if we are going to have any, they might be unwilling to tell you the issue, saying that, hey, I'm not going to share this information to her. Don't know why I will share it to her, right?
In
So that's,
private.
yes. So that is a problem when, for example, if you're just hired, this problem you basically faced if you are hired in a company and it's a first project, right? So people don't know you, right? So they might not discuss everything. But once you get used to it and once you are like 1 year in the company, then they know you and then it's easy for you. But especially handling the first project will be a little bit challenging because uh, when people come into the focus group, basically what I have seen, they don't want to talk. They don't show that much of interest, right? Uh, so what you have to do, you have to schedule the things again. You have to go for a one-on-one. And ask, okay, this is what I have been hired for this B. I need your help. Please help me out with this requirement gathering sessions. And then they think, okay, fine, right? It happens, right? When you go to a new team, don't much talk. You have to go every time to get the things done. Right?
What do you mean by selected will not be consistent with how will behave? I can understand how the selected might not be consistent, but I don't understand the last part, what you're saying.
With how we'll behave. Okay, data collected means when you are doing in a focus group, you run the we prepare the produce the report as in. But I have what I have take the notes. This is my report of the focus group. Okay, this person we have done a focus group of 1 hour, and this is what we have agreed upon. And this is the things that we have discussed, right? So I have collected this piece of information and shared, right? Now, while what they can do, they have it happens that in your discussion they say one thing, but actually when they go for the design phase, they will say, no, we are not going to do this. This is not going to happen. This is a constraint this might be a constraint going forward in your solution. This happens because of the first part. They don't want just more. So when you are developing and doing a solution, it might not how we have it will not be that happens.
Okay.
If the group is too homogeneous, group response may not represent requirements. Yes, so we discuss and we end up discussing all the other things apart from requirements and all. So that also happens, sometimes a problem in the focus group. Yes, you need to be a skilled moderator to manage the group of interaction. You need to make sure that whatever we need, we should discuss instead of getting diverted into other topic, right? When 5 to 6 persons sitting together and discussing, it happens, right? You are discussing something about your solution, which end up discussing, and you go to the other topics and all. So you need to manage that thing. Say, hey, let's come back to the discussion that we have started, right? Instead of going in.
Okay, what I'm a little confused on, when I've done focusing groups in marketing and in other areas, a focus group is more the actual end user, so like for example, if this was for a bank, I would actually be talking to people that would be future customers or our customers. But it almost sounds like here you're talking about it being too homogeneous, so that makes me think that it's internal people that you're speaking of.
Yes, yes. And when we're talking to end user, what we do, that time we say it as a workshop. What we do, as I said, right, the banking, they are actually end users who will be our future user. So for those people, what we do workshop, invite them for a whole day. We sit down with them and try to discuss the things, try to know what the user wants from their side, how they think we can implement, or what are the features they want to see it in our application, right? So that thing we do it in the workshop.
Okay, so that's a workshop, and then this focus group would be after?
Yes, yes. This is after this is, and I can say it can be during the requirement gathering sessions, and mostly we do it in requirement communication when we write the functional requirement document more from a solution point of view.
Okay.
Right.
Now, are you as a BA, are you the skilled monitor, I guess, or skilled mediator? Or,
Yeah.
I don't know what you, are you the person that's in charge of like taming the wild wolves? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that is actually very difficult, JB, to be honest, because sometimes I have to deal with the person who are very senior. They don't means, you know, what happens, different teams, it's not that every time you are working with the same team. It's if it is the same team, it's very easy to manage. When it goes to different team, it's first few days or first initial days, yes, even I also face challenges to manage the group interaction. But again, what we have to do, yes, you have to manage that group, right? What I generally do, if I see the discussion is going some or the way around, I will say, hey, I think we are done for the day. Let's meet tomorrow. I think it's not going in the right direction. Let's meet tomorrow and finish it off. Okay.
And then do you try to, on the side, before you meet the following day, do you try to get that person that's uncooperative or the person that you're having difficulties with, do you try to approach them before you meet as a group again, or just leave it alone for the day and hope they behave?
Yeah, so there are two scenarios here. So now, if a person is not talking or unwilling to discuss the detail in the discussion, what I do generally, I schedule a one-on-one with him or her, whoever it is, right? And discuss saying that, hey, these are the requirements, so how do you think? And try to gather the information in a one-on-one. And try to say, hey, I'm the BA, I need the information going forward. Don't worry, it's the same team only. And I need your help, right? If you don't give me information, how will I go to the solution point, right?
Okay.
I'm also dependent on you. That is one way. Okay. If the user is not user, if the person is not willing to share the information or is not talking, there is another person who will keep talking a lot, right? And he might take the discussion and around another things. So what I will do, I don't schedule a one-on-one with him. I will see first day how he is working. I will see second day. In the third day, probably I will say, hey, don't private the discussion in other way. Let's keep it in the requirements itself and let's discuss the requirement. I don't have time much. We have to finish it in one day. No, sorry, 1 hour. Let's discuss. You have to drive it, right? So what if you see that they're talking much and all the things which we don't need, probably you have to say, hey, let's come back to the requirements. What happens if you do that? Ask question.
I like that. Let's come back to the requirements. I'm going to put that in my notes. I told you I was writing down the cute things that you say.
Yeah. So that way you have to, manage the group basically.
Because I'm more direct, I'd say, guys, let's focus. Let's go back to why we're here. But you word it nicer.
Yeah. So see, I cannot be. Always remember, when you are doing a PA activity, don't ever be aggressive, right? Because at the end of the day, you have to get in touch with all these people to get your work done, right? So if or don't ever be aggressive, be active listener. At the same time, you should know how to react as well. Be nice, but at the same time, you should know where to take the things, where to take the right things, right? It's not that if a person is talking this and that, you will listen every time. But yes, not in the first step. But generally, that's how you should do. Because if you become
You're kind of like a benevolent dictator. You are very kind, but you have to kind of dictate and control the way everything's going.
because I don't want to get anything out of control, and because if say for example I have scheduled 1 hour, and in 1 hour every day it is getting missed because of some other unnecessary discussions, right? That
Right.
way I'm hampering I'm wasting their time. At the same time, I'm wasting my time as well, right? Even I will be I'm responsible for my own deliverable, which I have to deliver in time, right?
Okay.
Make sure that this project go in schedule, right? Because the project manager will not go to them and say, hey, why you're not discussing the correct thing. He will come to me and say, what happened to your requirements? Is it done? It is going, your deliverable due date is tomorrow, or example, day after tomorrow. Are you ready with that? Because for PM, it will be for anything related to requirement, he will come to you, right? As for any clarification, any deliverable. So that is the thing. But yes, we can never be. Don't be aggressive enough, right? Because if you become aggressive and if you say something, there might be a situation where they don't help you at the end of the day.
I'm not that way. I'm not. I don't. No, I don't try to aggravate. I'm not that. That's not my personality at all. I try to be very kind and stuff the way I word things, but I don't play a lot of games. It's just like, look, we're here. We're here to work. We have to stay focused. That's why we're getting paid, and that's kind of what I'm like. But I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I don't aggravate people. No.
Yes. So that is yeah, that's what you should be, right? So that's it. You are good with your work as well, and don't waste time, right? Because that's how it happens. So.
Correct.
But if there will be some person, it might be in the focus group or it might be in the business stakeholder who can be aggressive, right? That time they might say there is a nature of the people, right? When you work with so many people, everyone cannot speak to you in the same volume or same level or nice way. There are people who become aggressive as well. And you don't know this. Yes, I don't know it. Know this. Can you help me out to know? That time also it happens, right? We also, if you at the end of the day you are taking calls, you are doing work at the same time, they are coming and say, hey, you don't know this, you are not doing this. That time also we need to be, yes, I don't know it. Tell me how to do that.
Right.
So that's how you have to do. Today is about dealing with a lot of people actually.
Okay.
So now moving to next is system interface analysis. Now what is system interface first of all, right? Now system interface are what are the various I can say systems that your solution is going to interact with, right? For example, when I say in the log, if you remember, I showed you a system diagram which says that during login we are going to use user can sign up using Facebook, right? So for me, Facebook is another system interface which our system is going to interact, right, and get the data from.
Now, is one of the main reasons why they have that is so people don't have to remember so many passwords?
Yes, there is one way, and another way is that credential is already being authenticated. You are already having a valid credentials which you can use that.
Okay.
So if I am using FP authentication, so I need not to do it from our system. So I am actually saving a call inside my email. That is a back-end job. I am saving one load basically, because what I am doing, I just redirect it to the FB site who will authenticate and give me the result. So that is a reason that we do that. So that is a system interface, wherein how our system is going to connect, right, to what are the interface needed. So when we are doing the business requirements, we seek to discuss this system interfaces. What are the various systems that we are going to interact? Basically, some companies also refer to as interlocks. We call it as interlocks. What are the various systems we are going to interact with, from where we are going to get the data and show it, right? So this kind of analysis we do. So basically, first we do it with the business. At the same time, we invite subject matter expert and the architect into this discussion.
Now, who determines who the subject matter expert is? Is that the BA, or is that the stakeholders, or is it a combination?
No, you have to see when we get a project and we say, hey, this is your stakeholder, this is my BA, and these are the various project team members who is going to work on that. So you go and ask to them, hey, I need a subject matter expert on this. Who will be for whom I need with the for interface analysis. You can reach out to PM also to give you the point of contact, right?
Okay.
So he is the SME for this project. Please reach out to him.
Okay,
so you
thank you.
reach out to him and ask, because it is important for a subject matter expert to be in this discussion, right? At the same time, architect as well, solution architect needs to be there necessarily. Make sure you involve him in that discussion. So what we do, we look across the requirements and see where we need to. So for example, when we are doing the payment stuff, right? When in an e-commerce website, if we are doing a payment, that is again we are going to interact with the system. What is my system? My payment system. There are various ways where you can do the payment through credit card. You can do the payment through net banking as well, right? So what are the bank that we are going to have it in our thing, and what is the payment gateway that we are going to use? So that is a system interface that I need to look around, right? So that kind of discussion that we have it in our system interface analysis.
Okay.
So this, and why we involve business stakeholders, right? So here we involve the business stakeholder and subject matter expert and solution architect, because they has to agree, right? Okay, fine. Yes, you can go ahead and do that interlocks with the team, right? So we drive the interface analysis. We go through the requirements and find out with whom our solution needs to interact to get the data, or in order to implement that requirement. We have that discussion. That will be pretty much simple. Well, not simple. It is a good discussion because people of different areas come together. Do it in one. So when you are inviting these two people together, your task become easy. In a single day, you can finish it up also. So it's same thing, right? So now what we generally come out of the system interface analysis, basically we get to know what are the different systems that we are going to interact and how we are going to interact. That thing we will get to know in the meetings, right? How they will interact, that will come from subject matter expert and solution architect. With whom we can interact will come from the business stakeholders.
Again, what does a system architect do exactly? I'm still not clear on that.
What they do, they identify this kind of interfaces needed for your solution, and what is the flow of your solution is going to have. What are the technology that you should use while developing the solution? That person has that role.
So is that the person I would turn to at the table and say, could you help me clarify what the boundaries might be on this system? Because they're more, okay.
Correct. He will able to tell you, yes, you know what, this is our system, this will interact with the system to get data, this is how the sequence will be. So this kind of thing, he will do that for your system. So that all you get to know from the system interface analysis. Weakness, yes, we does not provide understanding of business process. So here you will not understand the business process, and we do discuss that also. What we focus more on, what are the system that we are going to interact. That's all the discussion about. Right. Now next is the interview. Yes.
I'm sorry, what are the activities in the interface analysis? What are the activities again? I think it's about activities and interface analysis.
Prepare for interface and prepare for interface analysis is basically to identify the stakeholder that you are going to have it in your meetings, right?
But what's the one above it, the activities for interface analysis? What would that be? Is the activity when you say, okay, we're going to have a meeting, or?
Yeah, meeting, and then you have to arrange a meeting. Whom you are going to add them in the meeting. You have to identify the stakeholder. That is another activity. And another activity is when we say prepare for interface analysis. When I say prepare for interface analysis, identifying stakeholder is one of them. Identifying the agenda, or not agenda, the requirements. You should be ready with your requirements, which you are going to discuss in the meeting, right? And interface analysis is nothing but driving the interface analysis, right? That's how you go there.
Okay, thank you.
Now it is interview, right? Now when we take interview is nothing but the one-on-one meetings which we generally go and talk to people, right? As I said, right? If the people is not willing to talk to you, or then because they don't trust you in the meetings, they are not discussing, but at the same time you need that person information or idea, we go for an interview. So how we go? We approach basically that people to gather the requirement or information on the requirements. We schedule a meeting, especially one-on-one. We go to that person. If it's in the same location, you have face-to-face. If it's in a different location, you schedule a call. Talk to that person in one-on-one. And there are two kinds of interview wherein you can, okay, this is, or this is, have a set answers from, right? Or if you don't want to prepare, it is like just open-ended. This is what I need to know, and or else you have few questions in mind. Say that these are. That's it.
Okay.
So again, depend on BLF of the domain. When I am asking the question, I should know how actually the domain works, right? When I'm asking saying that I'm going to build a solution, that is a solution by building a website. At least I know a bit of it, how a website is built, how website, where website means if it runs on a browser, what is the flow of that particular website will be. That knowledge, if you have that understanding of the knowledge, when the user in front, not user, the stakeholder whom you are interviewing is giving the response, it helps you getting the correct response.
Would you please type that in the notes before you send it to me about knowing the speed or whatever you said?
What is that?
You said it's helpful if you know the speed of something flowing or downloading or something like that.
No, what I am saying is, if you are building a solution if you are giving a solution by building a website, right? Example, I am trying to build an e-store website, which is an example we have taken, right? E-store. Now, what e-store will do, how many products that I am going to show, how it will load, right? Basic flow of your website, you should have the knowledge of that, so that it helps you in the interview when the person sitting in front of you is responding to your questions.
Right, but I was wondering if you could write on the little notes here some of those type of things. So,
Yeah, I will do that.
okay.
Skills of BA in documenting the discussion, right? How well you are documenting the response, that the response you're getting it from the user, sorry, not user, the stakeholder. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
like rapport, as I said, right? If you have a good relation with the, if you can build a good relation with that person, whom you are talking to, actually your interview becomes successful, or else he will not, he might not be ready to share the information even when you are scheduling the interview. So you keep on scheduling 1 day, 2 days, one and one to get all the relevant information.
So do you find, and I'm being serious here, so do you find that if you bake something and bring it to people that they're a lot more friendly and helpful? Or is that
Bake,
just in, yeah, like, or is that just in America? I think it would be in any country. People like food. And
yes,
so,
yes.
like, if you bake something to bring it to them, they might, ooh, this is good, and then they might warm up to you a little bit. I mean, or do they just not do that in India? A lot of
No, no.
people don't do it here in America, but when you do, it makes a big impression and people really like you. See,
So
because anybody can go to a store and buy something, but if you actually bake it at home or something that you made, it means a lot to people here. And it usually tastes better anyway. But I just was curious, or how do you get them to warm up?
when if I get them to warm up in the interview, how means when I say warm up, are you saying that person should open up and be
Yes. How
comfortable?
do you build trust? How do you all that?
So what happens, see, it will not be in a single day, right? First day when I'm talking to you and saying, hey, this is what my work is, I'm doing this, that single day, nobody will have that much trust in you, right? So what you do, eventually, once you start interacting with the people, they will also see you how you are interacting when you are going for one-on-one. Don't immediately jump into the conversation. Start is, okay, how was your day, what generally you work on, what is your skills, or what is required for uh, your position to work on. That kind of discussion you start, and then come into the requirements, right? And try to give your opinion as well. Try to see how he is reacting. Yeah, in a single day, even though you are very kind enough and it's very nice, but still they might not be that comfortable. But eventually they get comfortable once you start interacting with them,
Right.
right? So that is how it happens, right? He or she should be in a position, should be that comfortable to share the relevant information, or or she should be ready to provide you the information also, right? It
Mm-hmm.
depends on the other person, right? Also.
Right. All this sounds normal. I was just asking in case you had any wonderful ways of getting people to, to do things when you've had struggles with certain people, because there's usually one person that has a bad personality. So
Yeah.
and I'm usually pretty good at getting people to open up and all that, but I just wanted to know because you've been doing it for so many years.
Not because what I in my thing, yes, there are few person, but what I have seen, maybe one day, first day when I scheduled the one-on-one with him, he was not that, he was not, I was feeling when I was talking to him, it's like just he was just sitting and just okay, fine, yeah, you can do this kind of response I was getting. But
Mm-hmm.
what I did, I went to him and asked, if it helps if you are in the same location, right? If you are
Right.
sitting in the same location, what we do, I went to him, not by scheduling a one-on-one. I just, when I saw, I said, hey, even I have this query, can you help me solving this? This is what I have a doubt on this requirements. Then I next day also I schedule a one-on-one. But eventually that person then then he not in the person who was there in the first one, who was not trying willing to share the information, in the third or the fourth day, he is like, okay, fine, yes, we can do. He was getting involved into the conversation. So it's if I would have said, oh, he is not talking, I will also not go and talk to him, right? What is the use? But you should, if you need something, you should go and approach them, right? So then eventually they open up. Right. That's what it happened to me. I didn't leave that for after the first one-on-one and say, hey, then I'm not going to interview anyone, anything, or I will not schedule one-on-one because he's not talking or he's not willing to talk to me. No, you keep on approaching him. At one point, he has to come back to you, right?
Do you ever get it like, so it's totally 100% business, or do you sometimes sense like maybe something happened, maybe a family member is sick and they're just not focused? Or do you just, does it depend on who the person is?
No, I didn't get you. What you were asking?
Well, for example, some people will say when you're at work, keep everything 100% business. Don't ask anybody about, you know, their family members or what kind of flowers, you know, if they grow plants or gardens or anything like that. They said just keep it strictly business. But a lot of people say that they find they don't get into people's real personal business. They don't like ask, oh, do you have a boyfriend or husband or whatever, but they'll just have normal, you know, conversations like, oh, do you plant a garden, or do you have any horses, or, and then a lot of times people warm up and they are more open if you're kind of getting to know them as a person rather than just always business.
Yeah, it helps. And you know what, I have seen now the business that I'm working is actually a lady. So she says, yeah, I have to, she's also in US basically. So she says, yeah, I have to go and get my kids and I have to drop them to the schools and I have to get them, oh, they, you know what, in the weekends they will say, hey, I have got this friend in my schools and she will tell me a lot of things and I have to hear. But yes, first day she was not all telling these things to me, but when you work with her for some time, you can ask. It's not that no, you cannot ask since it's a business. No, you should not. There is no hard and fast rule. This is how you build a relationship also, right? When you talk to people and say, hey, okay, so where do you stay? How you are married? If you have any children, if you see, ask them. If you see that, okay, that person is actually not willing to say all this information, don't ask them, right? You will know, right, how they are responding. If you feel that if they are also, okay, fine, yeah, I have this thing. If I say, yeah, I stay in this place, I have 2 kids, and my husband is working there, I have to do all these things in the day and come to office, you think, okay, yeah, she is comfortable to talk to. But if you say, yes, I stay here, you need any other information? Or no, then you know. Right?
So you don't find that like people from India, your country, that they're less willing to open up? Are they the same? I mean, you follow what I'm saying, because I'm assuming if I'm doing this in IT, I'm going to be interacting with a lot of people probably from India or Pakistan maybe.
India, some people, yes, not they will just come because the team with whom I work, they're very friendly, right? But there is another team who is like, Sudipta, I need information. Can you just send me that information? I need this clarification. Can you send me? That's all they talk. They won't come any. They will every time be staring at their computers and all.
It's just personalities. It's okay.
Yes.
I just know he said that into their home and see their home unless they're friends and they know them well. Whereas here, you would invite a stranger in if someone needs help or something. So I guess that's why I was just trying to figure that out. Okay.
No, I think it's again idea or the personality of the person, right? For me, my colleagues also come to home and also go them and meet them in the weekends, right? We go out, would go out somewhere together.
Okay.
But that a level, right? How you interact with your colleague or how comfortable you both are. But generally, here they say is they don't encourage, or if you don't talk with that colleague, probably not go or you will not invite him or her to your house as well, right?
Right.
send him or her and invite them. So we do that. But again, depends on the other person as well, how he or she is doing that.
That's fine. I was just okay. Thank you.
Right. With the interview, yes, establish a relationship with the stakeholder when you are going interviewing in one-on-one, as I said, right? If you're talking and the person was not opening up with the 5 or 6% in a group, you can go and ask thing, and actually they also he will also come to know you, and eventually establish a good rapport with him or her. Right? When after the interview, that is one of the strengths of the interview. Allow participants to have full discussion and explanation of the question and answer. Yes, because when you are doing an interview, it's only you and the other person. There is no a person around who can cover the topic. So you can have a full discussion and explanation. Enables the question of non-verbal behavior, how the person is reacting and all. You can see that when you are doing an interview, especially face-to-face, right? We can ask the question and probing question to confirm own understanding, right? I go and ask them again specifically to him or what the question need or the answers I need for that question, and I can follow up them also, right? Maintain focus on the objective. Yes, because you don't have to deal with other 2 or 3 people. It's only one people to maintain the focus. What exactly you want, right? This weakness again, it comes not an means of reaching the consensus among a group of stakeholders. Transcription and analysis can be complex. Yes, it can go complex as well. Sometimes you are interviewing or this that happens. You know that you need information and schedule a one-on-one with. Probably there might be a 2 or 3 stakeholders, business stakeholders also. Right? They will say, oh, she had one achievements. It happens sometimes. Not everyone will take it personally. Sometimes what happens is, oh, why she gone had a one with him? Why not? We all should have in the same thing, right? But then you have to. That kind of thing happens when it's a group of stakeholders. Right? They might think, oh, how come suddenly not with us and she went ahead and had a one-on-one? Is that something that you cannot say? Then you have to make sure that no, it was, I needed information from him. I need his opinion also. That's why when we are not, he was not opening up. I was not getting enough response from him. That's why I had to schedule a one-on-one. There is no other thing. Right? Require considerable commitment and involvement of the participant. Yes, in an interview, sometimes what happens, you schedule a one-on-one, they will say, hey, can you postpone it or reschedule it? I am having a meeting now. You reschedule, you make your, you adjust your schedule, and he will say, hey, I'm also not free in this time. Can you postpone it tomorrow? You do it. It shows the commitment of the stakeholder also, right? It should not, it happens. You will face this also. Oh, I'm really busy in this meeting. Can you do this? So that is a weakness actually based on his commitment or how he is getting involved to your conversation. So that's again the strength and weakness. So, but still we have to do that in order to get our information on the requirements. Any question, Devi?
No, ma'am.
So probably then we'll see what is left. Okay, so only observation and questionnaire, survey questionnaire left. So we will see that.
I know you have to get to work. If you would please send me the following lesson that we'll do in a couple days, if you send that ahead of time, this really helped because you sent this, and I was able to look over most of it, the majority of it, before we had class, and so it's a lot easier for me to understand because I'm viewing it twice. You know, this is the second time. So it's much easier for me to understand. If you can send that ahead of time, I would appreciate it.
So I will send it now today only. All PPT I will send, right? To this fifth model, I will send it now to the class. I mean, now on it, right? So that you can go and look into it.
Okay, sounds good. All right, and I guess I'll talk to you in a couple days.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Have a
Okay.
lot of fun. I know your husband's not around, so you have
Yeah,
fun with your friends.
yeah, sure, sure.
Okay.
You too. Bye.